La parole est à Medea Benjamin, cofondatrice de Code Pink.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here and to look out at you and know that we are one big family that loves humanity. I must say that coming from the United States, it's hard not to be so ashamed of our government that is not just complicit, but is a partner in genocide. But I am delighted to represent the millions of Americans who are fighting back, the millions of Americans who are saying absolutely no to this genocide. One of the things I have the pleasure of doing day after day is going to Congress, where we run after the Congress people, stick our telephones in their faces and say, why are you supporting genocide? And then put on the social media the stupid things they say, along with the amount of money they take from the pro-Israel lobby groups. We are not only shaming them, we are making them embarrassed to take this blood money. And we now have more and more members of Congress who are pledging not to take the pro-Israel lobby money and not to vote for more bombs to go to kill babies in Gaza. Unfortunately, Trump is trying to hold together the Republicans in support of Israel, but he is losing his base because the base is saying you're supposed to be America first, but instead you are Israel first. I also want to bring up the issue of Ukraine because we see in the United States that it is the Democrats particularly who want to keep sending weapons to Ukraine. And they know that this is a war that can't be won on the battlefield. They know that this will only lead to more deaths of poor Ukrainian and Russian soldiers, will only risk a wider war. And so we are organizing the United States to say no to more weapons to Ukraine. The only solution is intense negotiations, not Tomahawk missiles. But that also brings me to the issue of NATO, where we are told we need NATO to protect us. We need to put more of our money into NATO. And we say, no, it is a war machine that needs to be dismantled. We also see in the United States an intense campaign against China, an intense campaign to say we must build up this war machine to confront China. This is the way that our government covers up for its terrible economic policies and a way it justifies this trillion-dollar budget. And so we say China is not our enemy. We say we need to cooperate with China to address issues like global poverty and the existential threat of the climate crisis. We also see our government going back to the old days of the Monroe Doctrine, where we can dominate Latin America with this new fake drug war, where we're blowing up boats off of Venezuela as part of a campaign for regime change in Venezuela. We say, hands off Venezuela. We also say that another kind of war being waged are sanctions, especially against poor countries like Cuba. We say, hands off Cuba, lift the sanctions. And in the United States, we see an intense campaign against our immigrant community, where they are putting immigrant agents into our streets, into the workplaces, into people's homes, masked agents, to grab people up and put them into private, for-profit detention centers. We are organizing massively in the United States in community after community to drive these agents out of our neighborhoods and protect the immigrant community. I also don't know if you saw when Trump and the Secretary of, it's now called War, which is appropriate, not defense, the Secretary of War gathered 800 generals together to talk to them. And one of the main messages is that there is a war internally in the United States against us, what he calls the lunatic left, and that he wants to use the troops in our cities to fight against us. And so we say no to armed troops in our cities. We say no to having the National Guard patrolling and fighting its own people. We are not the enemy. The enemy is fascism. And so we are in the courts, we are in the streets, we are told to be silent, which makes us be louder and louder. And we are inspired to be here with you because we are inspired by the great protests that you have all over Europe, especially our friends in Italy. We are inspired by the 44 countries represented in the flotilla, the courageous people on the flotilla. We are inspired by the boycott campaigns, the divestment campaigns, the sanction campaigns. And we are inspired by the ideas coming out of this gathering to work together for international days of action and stronger, more effective campaigns to fight the genocide and to fight war in general. And I want to end with a chant that we say in the streets. We say, when Palestine is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When our democracies are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Free Palestine. Thank you.